Yeah, I don't think I've posted any.
Is Allison going to turn her camera on? We like to see
Allison?
Allison's muted.
Allison, punch around. If you're on a computer, you might have to turn your camera on, I think, in the bottom left-hand corner. Is that right? If you're on an iPad, you just kind of have to punch around and see what you can do. There she goes. Hey, Allison.
Sam's trying to get the stupid app on her phone to load is the text message I just got. So, all right, we'll get started. So we're recording. Welcome, everybody. Oh my gosh, there's Sam. Love and I are so excited to start working with you guys. I'm looking around. I think, Love, is everybody on here new? Everybody from my team.
Everybody is new, yes.
This is awesome. Awesome. So, just so you know, just give you a little, I don't even know what to call this, but I'm Stacy Itzel for those on Love team who haven't met me. And Love, raise your hand.
And I'm Love Carpenter for those of you on Stacy's team.
Love and I are so proud to lead two of the top executive teams in the entire company. So my team, you are in for a journey to get to learn about love throughout this. Misty, we got some feedback from you. There we go. And I'm really excited to get to know some of you who are on Love's team as well. So we are going to be meeting on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. For the next 6 or 7 weeks, right, Love? I think that's what we got it trimmed down.
It is 7 weeks, and I figured out it's 2 Sundays in April, it's 2 Sundays and 1 Wednesday in May, and it's 2 Sundays in June.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
So Love and I are doing a little bit of traveling, and we've got Easter in there and Mother's Day and stuff like that. So I believe Love posted all of the days that we're actually going to gather together in the group, so you can mark them on your calendar now. And I'll create a Facebook event each time so you get those little reminders. And yes, even though we are recording this, you can come back and watch the playback if for some reason you can't make it. But we're really going to challenge you and ask you to do everything in your power to get on these calls live. You will get so much more out of them by participating, being able to ask questions and sharing some exciting things. We find that the ones who join the calls live are usually the ones that promote out of this group. So in addition to joining the calls live, the other thing that we want to ask for you to do is to book at least 8 parties a month. Now, don't freak out, because that can be 8 any kind of parties a month for you. It can be 8 live parties if that's what you want to do, 8 virtual parties if that's what you want to do, a combination of both live and virtual. It doesn't matter. But Love's going to show you in a little bit. This is all a numbers game, and we know that when you do 8 parties, you will be in front of enough people, networking with enough people to be able to share the business with enough people to get you to director within the next 90 days. We're also asking that you do coaching calls with either myself or Love if you're in our direct personal team, or with your director. So if there's a director between us and you need to do a weekly check-in call with your director. They've been through this process. They know what it takes. They've got the skills already. So a lot comes out of those coaching calls. And then finally, we're going to ask you to trust the system. And that's probably the scariest part for you, because you don't know what's coming around the next corner, but we're asking that you put your faith and trust in Love and I, and that you trust the system, and to know that we've got a pretty good system down to help you reach your goal. But I also want to tell you guys and congratulate you, because Love and I both have very, very big teams. And it's impossible for us to work one-on-one like this with every single person that's in our team. And each of you has been handpicked and hand-invited, is not the right way to say it, just been invited to join us on these calls. I mean, look around. There are 3, 6, 9, 12 of you, 11 of you that are on here right now. Out of close to 1,000 consultants, we've asked you guys to join us. And it's either because we've seen something that you've been doing in your business already that we think that you would be a great addition to our leadership team, or it could just be one simple thing that you said to us that we were like, yep, this girl or this guy's got it, and we want to work with them. So congratulations. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's awesome to be a part of this. Just so you know, and just to give Love and I a little bit more credibility to you, in 2016, together, the two of us promoted 29 new directors in our organization. That may not make, you may not even know what that number is, but trust me, it's a lot, right? There aren't many organizations promoting that many directors.
That means you can trust us.
Yes. And so far in 2017, between our two teams, we've already promoted 7 directors just in the first quarter of the year. And we have several more that are slated to promote this month. So we've had some pretty incredible growth, and it's because of this system that we have in place that we're getting these directors promoted. So I already said we're going to ask you to trust it. And, we're going to ask you to try some new activities and complete some tasks that may stretch you a little bit out of your comfort zone. But be assured that these activities are ones that are not only going to get you to directorship, but they're also going to help you be a strong director and a strong leader and have continued growth in your business. And we are not going to ask you to do nothing that we are not currently doing or have not done ourselves in the past. And that right there should give you peace in knowing that nothing is going to be too big or too scary for you to do, because we've already done it. All right, Love.
All right, so first of all, we're going to talk about what our career plan looks like and what the steps are to get to where you want to go to get to director. So first of all, I'm going to screen share. Give me just a minute to get this up. Okay, and my computer is usually a hot mess. Here we go. All right. So can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to fix it so it'll open bigger. Okay, can y'all see the one picture now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to do a little walk through the career plan and show you what this looks like. And we want you to ask questions if you have questions as we go. So if you're muted and you have questions, be sure you unmute and ask as we go. So the career plan has several different steps before you even get to director. So we want to show you what that looks like. So the first step here, and I have these images to post on the Facebook page so you can look at them closer even after we get off the call. But the first step, the first promotion that you get when you start building your team is the senior consultant position. And to be a senior consultant, that means you have personally recruited one person on your team, and you and that person are active in the same month. That's all that means. You've personally brought in one person on your team already, and you guys are both active in the same month. Now, what does that mean to you? Sure, you get a promotion and you're considered a senior consultant, but also you get an extra override, an extra 1% override on your sales and your team sales. So you can see in this first example right here, they're using Jen as a director. So you can see that she made her extra 1% override and made an extra $35 there. And it was a 6.3% commission increase from the consultant level. So several of you guys on this call are already senior consultants. So let's look at what the next step is. So the next step is the team leader promotion. And at the team leader position, that means you, again, have personally recruited 2 people. So it started out as Jen and Pat, and now Jen has also added Chris to her team, and you can see that below. So now here's where there's a little bit more requirement. So we want you to take notes because there's a few things off the card you're going to want to remember tonight. So at the team leader level, to become a team leader, you have personally recruited 2 people. They are both active in the same month. So what active means is that they have at least $150 in sales in. That's an active consultant. And we know a show is 200. So technically they could be active with just a combination of orders that total over 150, but 150 and above in commissionable sales. So Jen has 2 active consultants here. She has a minimum of 750. The team leader has to sell at least 750. And then together, the team sells 2,500 in sales. So you can see here, Jen did 2,400 by herself. And then Pat and Chris's sales added to that and made that more than the 2,500. And several of you on this call are already selling at a level that is higher than the team leader requirement level, or you and your team are selling at a level higher than that. Now, we're going over these titles tonight and these promotions tonight. We're giving you the minimums, but I want you to remember that leaders don't work till minimum. So when we're telling you that a team leader has to sell 750, we're not encouraging you to sell 750 to be a team leader. We want you to sell more than that so that you have a healthy growing business. But Pampered Chef has to put minimums in place so that those months when something major is going on, they have like that bare minimum that you can do, but don't set that as your goal, okay? So team leader, minimum of 750 for personal sales, 2 active personally recruited people, and 2,500 in sales. That's the 3 requirements for the team leader position. Now notice over here to the left, it lists some of the perks. A nice little perk at the team leader level is that your product discount jumps from 20% as a consultant to 30% as a team leader. So you get the same product discount that directors get at the team leader level. So when you place a product order, then you can get that additional 30% discount, which is really nice. Okay, any questions on the team leader level?
No.
So you can see here that she earned an average of 14.5% more than the original consultant pay that she was looking at selling 2,400. Okay, so now let's move to the next slide. Which is the next step is director. So senior consultant, team leader, and then director. So it's all a natural progression. So after you have added your first person at the senior consultant level, 2 people at the team leader level, it takes 5 people to promote to director. And again, we're giving you minimums. 5 people to promote to director. There's 3 requirements of director. Again, 750 in personal sales, 5 active people. So how many do they have? How much in sales does each person have to have minimum on your team?
150.
150, right. And of course, we want them to have a lot more than that. So that's the minimum. And total of 5,000 in team sales. So 750 minimum in personal sales for the director, 5 active people, and 5,000 in sales. But here's where things change a little bit. Remember at the team leader level, it had to be 2 personally recruited. But at the director level, it no longer has to be personally recruited. So you can see these 3 examples up here where Jen has recruited 4 in the first example, and then one of her people, Jill, has added a team member, Kim. And the other example here, Jen did personally recruit all 5 people. And then in the one beside that, Jen recruited 3 directly, but then 2 of them recruited. So it doesn't matter what it looks like as long as there's 5 people on your team. So of course, to start a team, you have to recruit someone, but then from there, it doesn't matter what it looks like. So although Pampered Chef gives you that minimum in sales as 750, Stacy and I would both tell you to have a healthy, growing directorship, you want to be selling at least at the 2,500 level. But if you're holding 8 shows in a month, you're going to be selling a lot more than that. okay? But 2,500 is really the lowest you want to be at the director level. And don't let that scare you. If you're not there yet, that's what this course is about. We're going to get you there, okay? So we're going to help you with how to build your show calendar. We're going to go over all the steps and everything that you need to know to do this. So in this first example here, Jen was still doing the same 2,400 in sales. So still doing 4 to 5 parties in a month here. So she was earning an extra 35% more. She made, and I'll kind of we'll go over the perks of directorship, but at the team leader level, you were making the 2% override. At the director level, you're making a 3% override. So you can see here where she made an extra $195 in her overrides. That's both from her personal sales and the team sales. But down below in this next example, you can see how Jen has built her show schedule to the 2 parties a week, the 8 shows that we're working towards. And so she's selling a good bit more. So here you can see where she's making $399 in her 3% override and is earning 118% more than she was at the consultant level. Who would like to be earning 118% more than what you are right now? Anybody gonna sign up for that? All right, that's where we're gonna get you. And that's, you know, one of the big perks of directorship. But I want you to also notice, in addition to the 3% override on your sales and your team sales, do you see right here where it says activity bonus underneath the 3% override? So as a director, you're paid an activity bonus, which is $10 for each active person on your team. And that's to help you train and coach and different things for your team. So to offset the expenses that you have as a director, but you're not going to spend $10 per person each month. I can assure you of that. So that's a nice little extra bonus on your check. So when you first promote, you've got those 5 people active. So you're going to have an activity bonus of no less than $50. But then we want to help you grow your team. So we don't just want 5 people active on your team. We want to help you grow to 8 people and 10 people and 15 people active on your team. So as Jen has built her team down there, you can see that she has 14 active consultants in that in the math example at the bottom. And with the 14 active consultants, she has an activity bonus of $140. So I'm guessing all of you would rather have the $140 activity bonus rather than the $50 activity bonus, right? So that's what we want to help you do, is grow your team. So what are some, does anybody have any questions about what it takes to promote to director?
Mm-mm.
Okay, who can tell me, who's not muted and can tell me the 3 requirements, and I know that we're talking minimums right now just because Paper Chef has to set the minimum somewhere, but what are the 3 requirements to promote to director?
I can tell you.
Okay.
You have to have personally at least $750 in sales, 5 people under you, and I guess you have 5,000 in team sales.
And that is your sales and their sales, and the 5 people under you all have to be active with 150. Very good, Carol. Thank you very much. That's exactly right. So now let's talk about, so you do this. Well, what goes along with this? What are some of the perks? So I know the perks, but I'm sure that some of you guys, there's some that you guys have already heard about or have wondered about or excited about. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What are some of the perks of directorship?
Free product.
Free product, okay? What else? And we're going to come back to that. That's a nice one, okay? There's more than just free product.
How about PC dollars?
PC dollars, yes. Do you know how many? Anybody know how many?
Oh gosh, maybe 100 extra per month? Oh, really?
Wait, it's a one-time when you promote to director, you get an automatic. Does anybody know how much it is?
500.
Okay, in between.
250.
250. Who said 250?
Shelly.
All right, Shelly, yes. So, Misty, very good. So, when you promote to director, you get an automatic 250 Pamper Chef dollars deposited into your account upon your promotion. So, what would you do with an extra $250? How nice would that be? And you can use that, of course, for products and supplies, catalogs, different products that you want. But you can also use that for conference registration for national conference in Chicago in August. So that would cover your national conference registration that you would not have to pay for. So yes, automatically when you promote, that is a one-time $250 in your account. Okay, what else? What are some other perks you guys have heard about?
Educational reimbursement?
Yes, educational reimbursement. So as directors, and there's some couple stipulations Pampered Chef puts on it because it's for leadership reimbursement. But yes, we can take professional development classes and be reimbursed for that during the year. So that's an awesome little perk that we get. What else?
At what level does the car allowance come in?
That comes in at the executive level, but that's a great point because you have to be a director before you can get to the executive level. So very good. So
I just have to think of some.
So you can earn between a $500 and a $900 car allowance at the executive, senior, exec, and national level, which is very nice. And the nice thing about the car allowance is that, you know, if you're still paying for a car, it can go towards your car. But if you're paying for college for your kids or for your mortgage, or you can kind of decide where you need that car allowance to go because it's a car allowance as it comes to you. So yes, that's something to look forward to in the career plan. There's a lot of perks as you move up in the career plan, especially from senior consultant to team leader. There's more perks. From team leader to director, there's more perks. And then as you move up to upper level, there's even more perks. Okay, so someone mentioned free products. So let's talk about that for just a minute. First of all, is there anybody on this call? Well, I happen to know a couple of you are. So who all is still in their fast track months? Who's all still in their first 90 days?
Me.
Carol and Misty and Shelly and
Me.
And Kim.
And who's me?
Samantha.
Samantha. Okay. Samantha. And we get ready? Who else?
Nicole?
Nicole and Allison. Anybody else? Okay. So in your fast track months, when you promote to director in your 90 days in your fast track months, you automatically get the director shipment of new products. Okay, that goes with a fast track promotion. So we're getting ready to talk about sales requirements to earn the director products. But if you're in fast track, you won't earn those when you promote in your fast track month. So the sales requirement is not the same for you. And what do you get? You get the entire director package of new products. And Stacy and I can tell you it's almost everything. The couple things that weren't in there is the colored knives and the cutting mats were not in there. And the little stone that goes on the grill was not in there. Was there anything else you remember offhand, Stacy, that wasn't in there?
I don't think so. I think that was it. But what was in there was the indoor-outdoor grill.
Yes, I'm getting to that. So what they did is they wanted to give us the big things. So the indoor-outdoor grill was in there. The rock crock base was in there. Like all of the big stuff was in there. The three little things that were easier to earn at the consultant level when we were in the free-for-all were not in there because we earned them as a consultant. So they wanted to give us the bigger stuff and make sure we got the bigger stuff. So you get almost all the new products. So who can get excited about that? Even if you earn them as a consultant, you can still earn them again as a director. So if you're not in your fast track, the way you earn the products is you need to have, and this is something you might want to write down, $12.50 in sales, 3 out of the 4 months prior to your promotion date, or a total of $5,000 in personal sales in those 4 months. Okay, so if you're doing shows and you're selling, you are going to be on track to earn this. This is not hard. Okay, so $12.50 in sales, 3 out of the 4 months prior to your promotion date, or just a total of $5,000 in all of those months. Okay, so if you're selling at the $2,500 level, that's a no-brainer. Okay, because you got 4 months before to do that. So that's how you earn them if you're not in fast track. And just to say another thing about fast track. Fast track is an amazing opportunity, and those of you on this call that are in fast track, you can earn a $500 to up to a $2,000 cash bonus. I want to say I was not a fast track director, and neither was Stacy. So those of you not in your first 90 days, it took me a year to promote to director. You can still go do big things in this company, okay? So if you are on here and you are way out of your 90 days, welcome to my world, okay? So we're going to do this together, and we're going to show you a formula a little bit later tonight on how you can promote to director in 90 days. Whether you've been in for a year or more, or whether you are in your first 90 days, from the time you decide you want to do this and get on track with your show schedule, you can do this in 90 days or less. We'll show you how to do that tonight. So is there any questions about how you promote to director?
No.
Y'all got it?
Is there a time period in which you have to have those sales and the active consultants?
All of that in 1 month. So like
Okay.
the team leader, all of that in 1 month, and then director, all of that in 1 month. So those are the monthly requirements. So that's a really good question, Nicole. And after you promote to director, the requirements change, but I don't want you to focus on this right now because we got to get you there first. But just so that you know, once you get there, the requirement then is 5,000 in sales from your team, and of course 750 from you. And you don't have to worry so much about who's active. I mean, we want 5 and 10 and 15 and 20 people active on your team as we grow your team. But it's just those 5 active in that first month that we have to make happen. And then after that, it's easier to keep your directorship than it is to promote in that 1 month. So that's a really good question, Nicole. Any other questions? All right, Stacy, I'm gonna turn it back to you.
All right, so what Love and I really try to focus on as we're working with people to promote to the director level is not just to promote directors, but to develop leaders. And I know that I personally have experienced so much growth as a human being by being a part of the Pampered Chef, books that I've read, through trainings that I've attended, through mentoring from other people in the business, and through relationships in the business. So that's another side of this business that we're going to be giving to you is some life skills, things that will help you not just in your Pampered Chef business, but in life in general, so that you can actually be a leader, not just a director. Because directors just tell people what to do, but leaders inspire people to do big things, and they set the pace, and they move people forward. And that's what we want to help you guys to become, is leaders. So when you talk with any motivational speaker or author or successful athlete or an entrepreneur, you will find a very common thread in each of their lives. And one of those threads is a vision board. Anybody on here ever made a vision board?
Mm-mm.
Kim, I'm not surprised. From the little that I know about you, that does not surprise me about you. Robin has made a vision board too. So one of the best ways that you can keep your goals in front of you is to have a vision board. I mean, think about January 1st. How many people make New Year's resolutions on January 1st? Anybody else have you ever done that?
Yep.
Now, have you ever made a New Year's resolution and then not followed through on it? Does that happen to any of you? Or it has definitely happened to me. And one of the reasons that people never follow through on their resolutions is because they just forget about them. Like, I can't even tell you some of the resolutions that I made last January because they weren't important enough to me to put on that vision board. I wasn't connected to them. I wasn't dedicated to them. When they're in front of you on a daily basis, that keeps you connected to them and it helps you to stay focused. So this is very elementary, but it is very powerful. A vision board can be made a number of different ways. It's really just a collection of words, pictures, images, anything that's important to you that you want to accomplish in your life or in your business over the next 3 months, 6 months, year, whatever time period you're setting, things that you want to achieve. So some areas of your life that you might want to consider for your vision board are your business goals, your financial goals, your personal growth, relationships, spiritual, health, fitness. Any of those things can be a part of it. You can make it the old-fashioned way, just by cutting and pasting. I just sat and flipped through magazines at the beginning of the year and cut these things out and put them on this cardstock and then laminated it. And this literally hangs right next to me in my office. You can't see because I can't move my whole monitor, but I see this every single day. But you could also make a digital vision board. You know, Google Images, one of your best friends. There are lots of free apps out there that you can download, things like PicMonkey or PicCollage or anything like that to make that. I try to make a vision board for anything I'm trying to accomplish in life. Let me show you a really simple one. If you're on my team, you saw this week. Every month we set a recruiting goal. This is my vision board for our recruiting goal this month. 55. We want 55 new consultants in our organization. So this is right here on my desk where I can see it every single day. You can see on my vision board, one of our goals is NED. I know this looks backwards to you guys, but that stands for National Executive Director. That's what our team is working on right now. So when you make your goals, your vision board, in order for it to really be effective, there's a couple important things that you must do. First, I already said it, you got to put it somewhere you are going to see it. On your refrigerator, if it's a digital one, make it a screensaver. On your phone, make it a wallpaper. On your computer. Where are some places that you guys look every single day that you could put your vision board?
My bathroom mirror.
On your bathroom mirror. Okay, thanks, Nicole. What were you going to say, Misty?
So I got this $45,000 check in the mail the other day that I would never cash because the interest rate is probably crazy.
Oh,
But I put it on,
or something.
yeah, you know, those goofy things. So I stuck it on my fridge, and that is my vision board.
I love it. That's great. That's awesome. Yes, the refrigerator. We all go to the refrigerator every day. Okay, so the second part of a vision board is to talk about it. And this is scary. And Love and I both can attest to this. It's really scary, and you guys have probably felt this way too, to put your goals out there in front of people, because I know what starts happening in my head when I start telling people that I'm shooting for. I start to think, oh my gosh, what if I don't achieve my goal? What are people going to think of me? They're going to think I'm a failure. So what I have found is when you start talking about your goals, start telling people about your goals, putting it out there, it takes your level of accountability from right here to right here. Because when you have choices to make between doing something and not doing something, you're going to do it when you know that you have told people what your goal is. And, you know, don't just tell your fellow consultants, tell your friends, tell your family, tell other coworkers, tell anybody that you talk to. Like if someone talks to me about my business right now, I'd say to them, you know, my organization is on fire. We are working on promoting to the top level in the company right now. Like I am living and breathing this goal that's on my vision board. The more you focus on your goals, the more your actions will be those that will lead you to achieving those goals. The more people that know about your goals, the more you will be less likely to give up on your goals. Think about that for a second. How many of you have actually, how many New Year's resolutions have you given up on when you've actually told them to somebody else?
I've told my mom this goal for myself and why I'm doing this. So she's already holding me accountable. She's already asking me, oh, I know you got that money in your account the other day. Did you do what you said you were going to do? Like, yes, I did actually. So thank you for checking.
That's awesome. So you're going to hear Love and I reference an author off and on throughout these 7 weeks. I think he's probably one of the authors that has impacted both of our lives incredibly over the last couple of years by 2 different books that he wrote, and we both have read. They were given to us as gifts by the CEO and founders of Pampered Chef. And you cannot, if you like to read or you like to listen to books, or whether you don't, invest in these 2 books. And they're by the author Rory Vaden, Roryvaden. And the two books that have probably impacted us the most, one is called Take the Stairs, and the other one is called Procrastinate on Purpose. But in his book, Procrastinate on Purpose, Rory Vaden says, each moment you don't do what you know you should be doing, you are stealing from your future self. All of you are on this call tonight because you have a vision. You have a goal for your future self, who you want to be in terms of Pampered Chef, what you want to accomplish financially, and how Pampered Chef can help you get there, how you want to impact the lives of others through your Pampered Chef business. So as you're going through this program, and even after this program finishes, if you don't do the things that you know you should be doing, you are robbing from the future Robin, the future Shelley, the future Carol, the future Kristen, the future Allison, the future Charlotte, the future Misty, the future Kim, the future Nicole, Wendy. I don't know your first name, JCB. Who is that, love? Who's JCB 11001?
Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer. We don't want to rob from the future Jennifer and Misty and Sam and SLP and Jamie. We want them to be the best women that they can be. So then now here's the third part. The third part is you have to decide that come hell or high water, you are going to be one of the next directors in Pampered Chef. That you are going to make all of your visions and dreams and goals come true. My husband recently started a health and wellness program and to lose weight. And in 10 weeks, he lost over 45 pounds.
Jeez Whiz.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Let me tell you a really funny story. One of our neighbors who hasn't seen him came to the door tonight, and I'm upstairs and I can hear this conversation happening. And she looks at him and she says, "Is Adam here?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm Adam." And she just stares at him. She goes, "Is Stacy here?" She did not believe that it was him. So, anyway, he joined a program at the gym that had mentors, much like Love and I are mentors for you. It had training, just like we're going to be giving you, and it had accountability, which you're going to have with Love and I, your fellow consultants, and by telling other people about your goal. So his program was much like the program that you all have chosen to join. I want to tell you something. All the training, mentoring, and accountability in the world will not help you achieve your vision if you aren't committed, dedicated, and determined. I just want to read to you a brief excerpt from a letter that he wrote to the gym after he completed the program. He said, "When I decided to sign up for this program and I made the decision to really commit to it, I told myself and everyone that I knew I was going to do this program, and I was not just going to go with the program, but I was going to win it. My personal goal was to lose weight, and this program helped me to do that. It began with motivation. I believe self-motivation and dedication are the most important parts of the program. If I thought to myself, I'll give this thing a try and see how it goes, I don't think I would have been as successful. You have to be motivated and dedicated to the program and to keep on track every single day. It's hard to change the way you've been living and the bad habits that have been established for so many years. This program helped me change all of that by making me keep track of the food that I was eating every day and having to hand in that each week. Just knowing that someone was going to be looking at it and also knowing that other people were doing the same thing really motivated me. They gave us weekly challenges, and I always wanted to make sure I did them and not fail. I was determined to win. What I liked most about the challenge was meeting each week with Brooke and Brian and getting the group training from them. They didn't just say, here's this exercise, go do it. They showed you the exercise and they explained in detail what the movements were that we were going to be doing. And then they encouraged and committed to seeing everyone be successful. As I stated at the beginning, I was going to win this challenge. And guess what? He did win it. Out of all of the people that started, I think there was about 15 of them, he was the winner. And he now holds the record for the most weight loss during that 10-week challenge. So you guys, if you commit, Love's going to talk to you a second about tracking and how important that is. For Adam, it was tracking food. You guys are going to be tracking different things. You can achieve from this program what you're trying to achieve just like he did from that program. You can move your business anywhere in the next 90 days with focus, belief, and determination.
Where's my
Back to you, Love.
All right. So now would y'all like to hear how you're going to be able to do this in the next 90 days? All right. The good news is we have a formula for you. And this is a formula that is actually pulled from Pampered Chef statistics. So like actually from our company with our show numbers and our attendance numbers and all of that. So I'm going to give you a formula that will, that if you follow this, you will be on track to promote in 90 days or less. Okay. So I'm going to screen share again so y'all can see this formula. And then I'm going to make this big. Maybe. Well, I don't want to go, I don't want me to make it bigger. Let's see if we can zoom in. Well, let's see. Okay, let's unzoom it. Can y'all read that? If it stays the same size, can y'all read that?
Yes.
No.
No.
Let me try again. I don't know why it won't let me pull like it did the other ones. Okay, let me just try to do it another way. Okay, is that one bigger? Not really. Okay, I'm going to post this. If you can't read it, I'm going to post it on our team page so you'll be able to see this afterwards. So just take some notes on the numbers I'm fixing to give you. And then you don't have to be able to see exactly what it says, okay? So this is a formula for success for 90 days to director. This formula is focused on booking 8 parties and holding 6. But I know that a lot of you on the line have plans, you know, that your goals are to book 10 and hold 8, or to book 12 and hold 10. So I'm going to give you different numbers along with this. So there's 2 different formulas here. The formula that they give us is focused on 8 parties booked with a 20% cancellation rate. And, you know, overbooking yourself is a smart business thing to do. Doctor's office do it, dentist office do it, airlines do it. It's just a smart business thing. Sometimes, you know, something happens and the show has to be rescheduled. Sometimes we get a flaky host and oh goodness, the show cancels on us. Hopefully it's just a reschedule. And then sometimes with virtual parties, we get a host that doesn't do what we ask them to do. So therefore they don't have a very successful party. And so sometimes that goes into the mix. So if you book 8, you can kind of take into that 20% cancellation rate to be sure you have what you need. So then you're holding 6 parties. I'm going to walk through that formula first, but then I'm going to give you the formula of 8 parties held. So with 6 parties held, an average of 10 guests at the party. Now that's a number for cooking shows, okay? But still, the same thing holds true for virtual. You know, with virtual, our goal is to get 30 people going to the party, but then you have 10 to 12 really engaged people that order. So you have to get 30 people going to get your 10 or 12 people to order. So still, even though you have more going on the Facebook party, really you don't have that many totally engaged people. That's just how many people click going. So it's still kind of the same ratio, even though this was written for cooking shows. So if you're holding 6 parties and you're seeing 10 guests or 10 engaged ordering people at your virtual parties, that's an average of 60 people that you're in front of in 30 days. If you do the skills that we're going to teach you here in this call series, a third of those people will be interested in some information in the business. So roughly 20 people would be interested in some information. Out of that, about a third of those would be serious enough to agree to an opportunity chat with you, a quick phone call about it or to meet about it. So then that leaves you with about 7 people. A third of those would be about 7 people that are actually willing for you to follow up with them. And then out of that, about a third of those people will actually say yes to the business. So that's 2 people saying yes to the business with this formula. Now, the way those numbers look, if you're booking 10 parties and holding 8, you're in front of about 80 people on average, with 10 people being engaged in the party or physically present at the party. And these are averages. So then you have about 27 people willing to take a look at some information. About a third of those would actually agree to a follow-up with you, so that's about 9. And then about a third of those would sign, so that's 3. So this is what you're working. This is a monthly formula that you're working on each month. So if you're signing 2 people per month, that's going to give you 6 people on your team in 90 days. If you're signing 3 people in a month, that's going to give you 9 people on your team in 90 days. So you decide. Of course, the faster you want this to happen, the more shows you do, because the more people you're in front of to make this happen. Now, if you look below that, also, not only does promoting to director include you recruiting, but your team can recruit as well. So typically, 2 of those personal recruits per month, if you take a third of that, then you have a total for, if you have 6 people signing in the 3 months, a third of those would be recruiting. So you have 2 of those people adding a person. So that's 2 more. So that could close your month with 6, 7, 8. That could close your 90 days with 8 new people, where the formula with 10 shows booked, 8 shows held, could close the 90 days with 12 new people based on that third principle. Okay. So I'll post this and the numbers for the 10-day, the 10 shows booked and the 8 shows held. But I want you to notice the red line over to the side. This is what we're going to focus on in this class. The 8 parties booked, there's a key skill to getting those parties booked, and that's called booking and prospecting. And that's the key skill that Stacy and I are going to be working with you on to ensure that you can get the bookings, that you have the skill to get the bookings. Then making sure that enough of those parties hold, the skill for that is host coaching, and that will be one of the topics for one of the calls we'll be doing, is working on host coaching. Also making sure enough people are going to the virtual party or attend the cooking party, that skill is also host coaching. Then making sure that enough people take home the information. If you just go do a party and don't talk about the business, you're probably not going to get a third of the people wanting to take home information. So that key skill is informing. And then making sure that a third of those people are willing to follow up with you. That skill is inviting. And then the third of those people actually say yes to the business. That skill is the opportunity chat or the interview. And so all of those skills, those are topics of the 7-week phone calls that we're doing with you guys. So we're really going to hit these skills hard so that you can make these numbers and achieve these numbers. And we're going to teach you how to track these numbers as we go so that you can actually see what's happening in your business. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. And so now we want to take the first step to how are we going, the bookings and prospecting, how are we going to make sure you have enough shows on your calendar? So the important thing that we want you to focus on this week is getting your show schedule. We actually have 2 weeks before we meet again because Easter is next Sunday. So we won't meet again until the 23rd, 2 Sunday nights from now at 8 o'clock. So what we want you to put your focus on over the next 2 weeks is getting your calendar booked up, because you're going to learn all these skills and you're going to need shows to go practice these skills at. Whether you do virtual parties or whether you do cooking parties or both, we want you to have the parties to go put the skills in place. So I'm going to teach you how to track your contacts, okay? So that's your focus over the next couple weeks, is making enough daily contacts to build your business. And this business is a numbers game. You just saw the formula to success. That is totally a numbers game. And that's what this business is. It's making enough contacts to get enough bookings on your calendar. And what is that? It depends on what your number is and what your ratio is when you're making your contacts. And that's what Stacy and I will be able to work with you on in our one-on-one calls in the weeks in between. So I want you to get a spiral notebook, any kind of, it's cheap. I use like a one subject 70 wide rule notebook. So any kind of cheap spiral notebook, maybe you have it laying around the house from school supplies from kids or something like that, or you can pick it up at CVS or Walgreens when you go out tomorrow. And this is what we want you to be very diligent about tracking through this whole 7-week program. Because what this is going to help us do is that if you're making contacts and you're not getting bookings, because what doesn't fly with me and Stacy is I've contacted everybody and nobody wants to have a party. You have to be able to tell us who you've contacted. So, because that's not how this works. So I want you to write tomorrow's date at the top of the page. And then we want you to track every single person that you contact about the business. But first of all, we want you to be prepared to make these contacts. So tonight, before you go to bed, we want you to jot down 10 to 15 names that you can start with making contacts tomorrow. Because guess what? You won't be able to reach all 10 to 15 people that you write down on your list. So if you only put 3 to 5 on your list, you're not going to be able to contact many people tomorrow, because you have to reach out to more people than you're actually going to be able to have a contact with. Now, what is a contact? A contact is a two-way communication, okay? So if you go on Facebook and you send out 10 messages and 2 people respond to you, how many contacts did you make? 2 or 10?
2.
2. Contacts are two-way communications, okay? So we're encouraging you to set a goal of how many messages to send out each day. But the contacts, we're talking about live contacts going back and forth. So that could be in a text message. It could be in a personal message on Facebook. It could be in an email. Maybe you're sending email follow-ups for customers on your show and someone returns an email and y'all start a conversation. That's a contact. But just sending the email is not a contact. So we want you to write down 10 to 15 names, and maybe you need to do show follow-up, customer care follow-up from a show. So you could list that couple shows that you need to do follow-up, and that would be a great place to start. If you don't know where to start, get the launch list off PC University and make your launch list. I don't care how long you've been in the business. The launch list is a good place to start. Even though Stacy and I have been in the business for years, we could make that launch list and there will be people in there that are different than the last time we made it, because you're constantly meeting new people. So the launch list, you can green dot message. Does everybody know what green dot messaging is? On Facebook, green dot, when you look at your messenger, the people with the green dots are live. They're actually active on Facebook. You can go through your text history, text your friends, phone calls, call people, talk to people when you're out and about. There's lots and lots of ways to make contacts. So we want you to track who you're talking to. So maybe you have your 10 to 15 people you're going to reach out to today. Some of them you're making phone calls to. You know, some of your friends, you know, would rather be text. I like to make a phone call and leave a message and then send a follow-up text to make it easy for them to respond to me. But it's easier to talk to people if you can get them live. It always will be. So we want you to, but then you might be out and about and talk to some people at the ballpark or something like that. So write those names down when you get home if you ask them about the business. Now, these are not contacts about the weather, okay? They're contacts about your business, okay? So you have to ask them about hosting a party. You have to ask them about joining your team, or asking them to do business with you, okay, as a contact. And so each day, start a new, whether you start a new page for each day or you just write the date and start tracking for the next day. And it makes it much easier if you make the list the night before. Okay, so contacts are going to be a big, big part of this class. So we're going to give you a homework assignment also to help you with bookings. And there are 4 booking classes on PC University. I think most of you know where to go and find those. So Stacy and I will put up the name of the class, and you'll go under PC University, go under the bookings course, and over to the far right, it's a peer sharing network. It's actually a conference workshop from the top sellers in the company and the top performers in the company. So we'll tag you guys on which call to listen to. That way you're all listening to different calls. So when we come back and we share, your takeaways. So we want you to write down your 5 takeaways from the phone call. So when we come back on this call, we'll be able to hear some of you guys share from the different calls that you listen to. So, Wendy might listen to one call, but then she can hear Shelly share something that she got from a different phone call on our next call. So that'll be your homework over the next 2 weeks to consistently make contacts. We want you to set a goal to make at least 15 contacts a week. 20 to 25 is better, but we want you to make a goal to make at least 15 contacts a week, okay? And listen to that follow-up phone call. Anything we need to add, Stacy?
Oh, we want to see your vision boards.
Oh yes, and post your vision boards in the page so that we can all see them. This will be so much fun.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited?
Anybody have any questions about anything?
I was actually relieved because I was thinking it was going to be 10 to 15 people a day.
I was thinking the same thing.
If you want to go do that, you go right ahead.
Okay.
We really need you to have at least 15 contacts a week. So that means you're going to have reached out to 30 new people at least by the time we touch base back here in 2 weeks, because we're going to touch base again 2 weeks from today. So at least 30, okay? But if you want to go for 20 each week, then that'd be 40 new contacts. And think of where your business will be because of that. And
Fair enough.
a little tip to close with, set a goal to send a certain amount of messages each day. We want you to work on live contacts on the phone, but set a goal that, I'm going to send at least 5 messages a day, whether it's text, Facebook, or I'm going to send at least 10 messages a day, because a lot of those you're not going to hear back from. So set that goal to reach out to that many people a day to help with your contacts that you make. Yes, Stacey?
I just want to emphasize, guys, this is the most important thing as far as skill and habit and discipline that you can do for your business. Love and I still do this to this day. This is my look, she's got that. I got my little notebook right here. I got one over there. I mean, we track everything. And just like Adam's program was tracking his food, when you are writing it down, you will see that you're either not talking to enough people or you're talking to the same people over and over and over again. So make this a high priority on your list. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Congratulations again on being picked to be a part of this program. We are excited to help you move forward in your goal. I'll tell you, our goal for you is to have you promote by July 1 at the absolute latest, but it can happen so much faster. Misty, with the blonde hair, not the red-haired Misty, was just part of a team that promoted to director in 29 days. So ladies, anything is possible in this business. And now it's your turn, Misty, the next 29 days.
Okay. No, none.
But some of you guys are already so much closer because some of you guys have already started building your team and already have a team and already have a good show calendar. So for some of you, it's going to happen a lot faster.
Yeah, I think almost a lot of my girls already have their first. So, all right, well, we're off to another call. So,
Thanks, guys.
Ginger, I'm glad y'all figured it out. I see you over there, Ginger.
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.